It's time to lock in. We're talking SEC, college football, and more. This is AP as we see it.
I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I said I'm all about that action.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham from LA, Lower Alabama. This is AP as we see it, a weekly syndicated show discussing the Southeastern Conference, college football, keeping an eye on the national college football scene and other sports. Welcome to another edition of AP as we see. We'd like to direct you to our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X account, and also on Spotify. And of course, we have the video broadcast on our YouTube channel, AP as we see it. That's our social media platforms. And we also have my personal platform at AP Stedham. So check out the social media platforms. And we're heard around the state of Alabama, and it's also heard in 5 states. It reaches Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So check your local listings for the time of the show on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. And like I said, every episode, the audio is archived on Spotify. So in our AP, as we see it, YouTube channel is the video broadcast, which we usually put up on Thursdays. We'd like to let people know about our guest, upcoming guest. Olin Buchanan is with TexAgs.com. He'll let us know about the Texas A&M Aggies and their fortunes this season. And we'll also, that's segment 3 and 4. Segment 2, we're going to have a new guest to our show, Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. He's a sports reporter covering the University of Notre Dame. We know that there's a big SEC matchup featuring Texas A&M versus Notre Dame early in the season. So we're going to discuss that with both reporters, and we look forward to that. We'd like to make mention of our sponsors. They're so important to us. Greer's Markets, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi. They have the groceries to go online, delivered to your home, your office, different venues when you're watching those SEC football games, college basketball, baseball, gymnastics, everything. Like I said, if you can't make it down to one of the Greer's locations, just reach out on groceries to go and have those delivered to you. They have Lucy's recipes. She has her book out. Her famous recipes. You can buy the book in the store or purchase it online. You have the weekly specials, all the desserts and all the produce and the delicious meats and vegetables. And when you're going to have those special occasions, the anniversaries, the birthdays, the celebration of the big games, make sure you keep Greer's in mind and check out those weekly specials and groceries to go online. And also they have the coloring contest for the children. That's exciting for them. And there are 109 years. They have contests involving the 109 years of this Gulf Coast, of servicing all these people and having all these delicious foods and items. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. Greer's got it. They guarantee it. We also like to make mention of the Cortland Grand Hotel, downtown Atlanta. And I stay there all the time at SEC meetings and for other events. I'll be there during the course of the season, probably traveling through. But check out Ben Giacomo and his staff. They have exceptional, nice rooms. They have the tropical setting for the indoor pool. There's the breakfast buffet that's very delicious, and they cook to order on the weekends. And then they have the shops and other restaurants in the hotel itself, and it's downtown Atlanta, right in the heart of everything. So check out the Cortland Grand Hotel, downtown Atlanta, with Ben Giacomo and staff. They're tremendous hospitality ever since I started staying there years ago. But anyway, we're going to discuss in the first segment, we're going to look at some polls, just so that folks know that this is my first year being a Football Writers Association of America National Football Foundation Super 16 poll voter. So this is my first year being a poll voter, and I really have enjoyed it. And I just want to let you know about my poll. It's the top 16 teams, and then I'm going to give you the final poll with I think it was about 50 plus voters from the Football Writers National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. But I had Penn State number 1, I had Texas number 2, Clemson number 3, Georgia number 4, I had Notre Dame number 5, Illinois number 6, Ohio State number 7, Oregon number 8, Alabama number 9. I had Indiana number 10. I like that Indiana team with Fernando Mendoza, the transfer from Cal. We had LSU number 11, South Carolina number 12, Miami of Florida number 13, Arizona State 14, and I had Ole Miss number 15. Now, there's some differences. In the final poll in the Football Writers National Football Foundation Super 16 poll, they had Texas number 1. I had Penn State. They had Ohio State number 2. I had Texas. Penn State was number 3 for them. I had Clemson. We were the same with Georgia. They had Clemson number 5. I had Notre Dame. They had Notre Dame number 6. I had Illinois. I like this Illinois team, Luke Altmaier and Brett Bielema, the coach. I think they're going to have a very good team this season, and they're going to contend to be one of the top, let's say, 4 teams in the Big Ten. Oregon number 7 in the final poll. I had Ohio State because I think Ohio State lost quite a bit, and I just think Illinois is going to be a little bit better than they host the Buckeyes, and I think that's going to be in, I can't remember, it's October. I think it's October. I had the final poll had the final preseason poll had LSU number 9. I had Alabama. Number 10 was Miami. I had Indiana. They had Arizona State number 11. I had LSU. They had Illinois number 12, and I had South Carolina number 12. Number 13 was South Carolina for them. I had Miami, Florida. Number 14 was Michigan, who's not in my poll. I had Arizona State. Number 15 is Ole Miss. They had Ole Miss at number 15. They have Tennessee, which is not in my poll. I had SMU. So those are just some of the variations in the poll between my poll that I submitted for the Super 16 and the final Super 16 poll that all the voters submitted. So there's some slight variations, but I felt good about where I rank people at the moment. But we won't know until these teams start playing with their quarterbacks. They have a lot of teams have new quarterbacks, and for instance, Texas has a brand new quarterback. Now we know he's very experienced, Arch Manning, and he has the talent, the supporting talent around him. But how he will perform as the main quarterback, we're not sure. Ohio State will have a new quarterback, possibly Julian Sayin, the transfer from Alabama. But that's a young quarterback. Penn State has a veteran quarterback. That's why I had Penn State at the top. I like their 2 running backs. Both had 1,000 yards. They brought in 3 transfer wide receivers because they were lacking in that area last year. So I feel good in the acquisition of the players they have on the perimeter. I like Clemson. I like Clemson a lot with Cade Klubnik. He really improved last year. 2 years ago, I kind of doubted they had the ability to contend for a national championship. Last year, they made the playoffs. They were defeated by Texas in Austin. Cade is from Austin himself. But I like Clemson, their talent overall, the wide receivers, running backs, offensive line, the defensive line. They always play good on that side of the ball. I think they're going to play better on defense this year. They weren't as strong last year. Like I said, Illinois, good football team, good coach. Ohio State, I had them below Illinois, and I just think that Illinois is going to have a better chance than they host the Buckeyes at home. Oregon's good program. Dan Lanning, he recruits well, talented. I like Indiana. As I mentioned, Fernando Mendoza, the transfer. He's from South Florida, but he played at the University of California. I saw him play against Auburn. I think the first half at Auburn was 15 for 17. He was on fire. Big quarterback, 6'5". I like him quite a bit. LSU, we know they have offense. Garrett Nussmeier, we know they have good receivers all the time. They have to be able to run the football effectively on demand. And that's something that's been lacking, a strong running game from them. So LSU, we know they can throw it, but can they play it? They have to play a little bit of defense from LSU. I would say. South Carolina, Lenora Sellers, very talented, one of the better quarterbacks in the league, maybe in the country. Dylan Stewart, the edge rusher, we like him defensively. Miami of Florida, Carson Beck, the transfer quarterback. Miami's one of those teams, they can upset somebody, but then they get beat by what's perceived as a lesser opponent. Arizona State, Sam Levitt, we spoke to him at the Manning Passing Academy in Thibodeau. So they have a good coach, Kenny Dillingham. And then Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, he's very good with the transfer portal. New quarterback, Austin Simmons, a young quarterback, very smart though, very impressive left-hander. So we'll see what Ole Miss can do if they can not slip up like they did against Kentucky last year. And that ended up being Kentucky's only win against a Power 4 team. And then SMU, good program. They're building it, part of the ACC. Good coaching. So we'll see what happens. But I love still having the polls because it breeds good discussion amongst the fans, amongst the media members. And I just really enjoy trying to see how everyone else assesses the teams across the country. So this Super 16 poll, I'm going to look forward to it every week, submitting it. And I'm really glad to be a part of it. Football Writers Association of American National Football Foundation Super 16 poll. But we're going to be right back after these messages with our first guest, Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal Gazette, to discuss the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So we'll be right back after these messages with AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it, and our very special guest in segment 2 of the show is Dylan Sinn, the Fort Wayne Journal Gazette sports writer that covers Notre Dame. Dylan, this is our first time. We love having you on the show. Thank you so much for being on AP as we see it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, Dylan, we were having a conversation before. I'll be at the USC Notre Dame game in mid-October. That's one of the best. I think that's the best rivalry going across the country, I believe, since 1920 something. I believe it was Howard Jones was the coach, I think, at USC, and Newt Rockne. I think they got it going. I think the wives liked the trip more than anything else, I think.
Well, and that's exactly right. But that was what Notre Dame did back in the day, was they would play anyone, anytime, anywhere. That was kind of Newt Rockne's philosophy, and they've ridden that all the way out. And they've been playing basically every year except World War II and COVID. But this might be the last one for a little bit. They're trying to see if they can extend it. So good that you're getting out there this year.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what made me come up to the ball game. Besides, it's a great venue. Of course, I've been there a few times. I love it. But Marcus Freeman, he seems to be a very good coach, and he kind of came on board just when everything was happening with the money. So you can get those types of players that they were lacking on the edge, the speed players, I think, on the perimeter makes a difference for Notre Dame because they were on the cusp with Brian Kelly. I mean, he was a Hall of Fame coach before he arrived at LSU in my mind. But right now they're able to acquire talent because of the NIL that they maybe normally wouldn't under the prior circumstances.
Yeah, I think that's basically right. I think that it's the combination of the ability to kind of attract players with money that they couldn't have in the past, and then also that Marcus Freeman is a terrific recruiter. I mean, he was doing that even before NIL and revenue sharing, and he has just continued doing that at Notre Dame. He's put together several top 10 classes in a row. Their class for 2026 is actually ranked 3rd right now in the entire country. So they're getting kind of what you said, the elite athletes that help you go toe-to-toe with the best teams in the country with speed and strength. And that's kind of, as you said, what they were lacking under Brian Kelly, just those few extra elite athletes to really take them to the next level. Yeah, and so they're pretty much there now. Obviously, you have to continue to do it year over year, but certainly the talent level has been elevated, I think it's fair to say, since 2020 or so.
Dylan, interesting scenario at the quarterback position. C.J. Carr, familiar name to the people to the north in Ann Arbor, the grandson of Lloyd Carr, national championship coach at Michigan.
That's right. Yeah, he came over to Notre Dame. I'm sure some Michigan fans were a little bit disappointed because not only did he commit to Notre Dame, but at his commitment ceremony, Lloyd Carr wore Notre Dame gear and was very excited to be there for him. But Notre Dame fans have been very excited about C.J. Carr. for the last couple of years. He's a redshirt freshman, one of the top quarterback recruits in the country last year. And people have been excited to see him. He was really, really good in the Notre Dame spring game, through some really, really good passes in a tight windows. So the excitement is there for him, but he is not the only one in that room.
Okay, I heard he had a strong arm. CJ had a very talented arm, I heard.
Yeah, yes, he does. And his command of the offense seems to be pretty advanced as well. That was kind of where he hung his hat as a high schooler, was he knows where to go with the ball and has the arm talent to put it there. And so that's kind of what he's trying to do to win the job here at Notre Dame, is bring those skills to bear. And there's excitement for him, but he hasn't won the job yet.
I have a lot of love for Jeremiah Love. I like him as a running back. Yeah, he's a Heisman candidate, I guess, at this point, All-American candidate. I really like him. But the other running back, Price, they combined for, 1,800 yards and 24 touchdowns last year. So that's a real strong unit for Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's flat out one of the best running back units in the country. Jeremiah Love is a special player. I would pick him among maybe my top 4 or 5 candidates for the Heisman Trophy this year. But as you said, Jadarian Price is also a terrific running back, maybe the most overqualified number 2 running back in the country.
Yes,
absolute home run hitter, really strong. And then on top of that, you have sophomore Aeneas Williams, who made some really big plays in the college football playoffs last year, really emerged as a great number 3 option for them. So they have a great top level player in Jeremiah Love, but they're able to keep him fresh by giving other guys, very capable players, carries as well. So I think that really bodes well for that running game.
Yeah, Greathouse showed some flashes last year. The wide receiver position, 13 catches for 233 yards versus top level opponents, Penn State and Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely. So he finished the season strong. He was a true sophomore last year, so there's more from him to come this year. And again, as you said, played very well in those 2 college football playoff games. So they're excited about him. Notre Dame has not had a big, high-level receiver probably since Chase Claypool left after the 2019 season. It's been a little bit since they've had a guy they can really rely on the outside, so mostly tight ends as their top pass catcher since then, with Michael Mayer and other players. So you get Jaden Greathouse, then you bring in the transfer from Virginia and Malachi Fields, who they really like. And you have Jordan Faison, who plays in the slot, former walk-on who has turned into a real star for them, made some really big plays down the stretch last season. So that top 3 with some other guys thrown in, they feel like can be a really effective pass catching force for them.
Speaking of the tight end, Eli Raridon, right?
That's right.
Yes, star potential.
Yes, he does. I mean, they've liked him for a couple of years here. He was a high-level recruit, dealt with some injury issues, and he's now finally healthy. And they feel like, I mean, Notre Dame has a long list of really elite tight ends, and they feel like he can be the next guy in that line. He's basically 6'7", can go up and get the ball, extraordinarily physical, one of the more impressive players in the Notre Dame spring game this year, and really showed a glimpse of what he can do. So they have the running backs, they have the receivers, they believe he can be the tight end as well.
Just a brief moment on the offensive line, Dylan. Offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, they expect it to be really good this year. They bring back several starters, guys who were injured last year and had planned to start and will start this year. The only question is at guard. Well, Charles Jagasaw, who was expected to start for them at guard, he got hurt in an accident with a vehicle, a UTV vehicle in Wyoming. So unclear when he'll be back. Yeah. He was expected to start for them. He will play this season, Marcus Freeman says, but unclear when. So they're going to have to do some shuffling around there, but they do expect it to be a strong unit.
Yeah, with Dylan Sinn, the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette sports writer that covers Notre Dame. Just jump to the other side in the remaining about 3 or 4 minutes here. What do you like about the defense? A few players on that side.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it starts with Leonard Moore, who's one of the best. He was a true freshman last year at corner, one of the best returning cornerbacks in the country, basically took a starting job away from a really experienced player last season. Preseason All-American, I think he kind of takes away one side of the field, can really guard the best receivers in the country. And then at linebacker, you have a guy, Drake Bowen, who is Indiana Mr. Football, stepping into a role this year that they're really excited for him to play. At safety, Adon Schuler, kind of stepping in. They lost Xavier Watts, 2-time All-American.
All-American, right, yeah.
Yeah, but Adon Schuler is a star for them, they believe. He's stepping in as a guy who can really take over, a strong safety, really likes to hit people, and so he can take over a role in that secondary. Defensive line's a question, right? I think that is kind of the question for this team. They're losing a couple All-Americans at defensive
Yeah.
tackle, and Howard Cross III and Riley Mills, both of whom were terrific. They have a couple of guys they like there, Donovan Heinisch among them. They brought in a guy from Louisville, Jared Dawson, who was pretty impressive. So we'll see whether they can fill that out. But where they really are excited this year is on the defensive end position, where they think they can rush the passer a little bit better this year than they have in the last couple of years since Isaiah Foskey went to the NFL. They have Boubacar Traore, who was in line for a really, really big season last year before suffering an injury. Bryce Young is a former five-star recruit, now a sophomore who got some real playing time last year. So they feel like they can rush the passer this year. It's a question up the middle in that defense.
Our show concentrates on the SEC, Dylan, so we want to bring up the Texas A&M game. That was a great one last year. Notre Dame prevailed down in College Station, but now the Aggies traveled to the North Country, to South Bend. About 2 minutes remaining. What would you like to say about that Texas A&M matchup?
Yeah, I mean, last year that game, it was a doozy, right? It was the beginning of the season. Kyle Field was going absolutely nuts, and Notre Dame went in there and took it from him, right? It was a really physical game. Notre Dame, even in the heat of Texas, Notre Dame was the team that looked in better condition in the fourth quarter. We'll see whether I'm sure that rubbed Mike Elko the wrong way, and I'm sure that he will have his team even more prepared this year in year two. The former Notre Dame defensive coordinator, remember, so there's a lot of memories there. So really looking forward to it, especially in week 2. Notre Dame plays Miami right before that, so a really tough start to the season for the Irish.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good ball game. I know A&M, they were disappointed to start the season. They had a nice finish. Almost went to the SEC championship game, but that Notre Dame game kind of stuck in Mike Elko's craw, especially they didn't run the football effectively. But Dylan, how can people read some of your stories and follow you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter or X at Dylan Sinn, just my name, and then journalgazette.net is where you can find my stories in Notre Dame. So looking forward to covering the Irish this season.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just about 30 seconds, a comment about Marcus Freeman as a coach.
Yeah, he's terrific. Just a guy that players love being around. I thought last year when they lost Northern Illinois, that could have spiraled very, very quickly because that was a team with national championship aspirations. Right. He never let it get away from them. The idea of them coming back and winning 13 games in a row after that was absurd. They went out and did it. It was one of the best coaching jobs I've seen. He's a fantastic coach and a riser in this business.
Hey, thank you, Dylan Sinn, the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette sports reporter, covers Notre Dame. Follow him, and we'll be right back after these messages with AP as we see it to discuss Texas A&M with Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com. Thank you, Dylan.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it, and our very special guest to discuss the Texas A&M Aggies is Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com. Hey, Olin, how are you? Welcome to AP as we see it.
I'm doing great, AP. Hey, thanks for having me.
How's your summer been?
Busy. It's been a busy summer.
Yeah.
Spent some time in Arizona. Spent some time South Padre Island, and did a lot of work in between. Did a lot of work in between.
2 nice places right there. I've never been to South Padre, but I heard it was quite a place.
Nice beach place, nice beach. So best beach in Texas.
Best beach in Texas, right? I hear you.
So we spent some time down there.
Yeah.
My son is doing an internship with American Express in Phoenix, so we drove him out there. So made that into a vacation. So it's been a good summer.
Oh yeah. How do you feel about these Aggies, the 2025 edition? Just some general thoughts, Olin.
Generally, I think, like typically the case with A&M, there's a lot of potential there.
Yes.
I think they're going to have an explosive offense, and I think they're going to have a defense that has to prove itself. And
I see.
And A&M ultimately is going to have to prove that the Aggies can win in November, where they very often go into November in contention, championship contention, like they were last year, and very frequently fade in November. So those are some of the things that have haunted this program. They're always
Yes.
pretty good, not
Yes.
but not able to reach that next level.
Right.
But the potential's still there.
Right.
They
Yeah.
just gotta eventually live up to it.
Yeah. Last year, right there, playing at home against Texas, that was could have been a historical moment for them, right?
Yeah, and with the way everything worked out, had they beaten Auburn in
Right.
Auburn the week before, they would have played Texas twice. They would have played for the SEC championship had they beaten Auburn. So, but like I said, November they went.
Yeah.
They were 7-1 and the only unbeaten team in SEC play going into November, and they lost 4 or 5, and the only team they beat was New Mexico State. So,
Right.
yeah, they got to get that worked out.
Yeah. Maybe they're looking a little better. The running back returns, Levon Moss, right? He was hurt, but he's a very, very good running back. So maybe that helps him.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you don't want to make excuses, but I'll say that his injury coincided with their November fade because he got hurt like in the first, I'd say 5 or 6 minutes of their loss to South Carolina at the end of a 20-yard game. And he was their best player, and he was the focus of their offense most of the season. So not having him there was a problem, but who's to say that they would have won any more games had they had him? Of course, you want to be full strength when everybody has injuries, and that's part of it. So you got to figure out a way. If that was what cost you, you got to figure out a way to then be ready if you lose a key player.
Correct. Yeah. Now the offensive line may be one of the best, possibly, right, in the country.
Well, yeah, last year A&M was fourth in the SEC in sacks allowed and second in rushing yardage. And you don't do both of those things together without good offensive line play.
Yes.
Every one of the guys that were starters last year are back, and the guy who was started the season at center was Martin Abu. He got hurt in the first game, season-ending injury.
Wow.
In the first game. And so he's also back. So they've got their top, 7 guys in their offensive line is back. So they're experienced. They're in their second year under offensive line coach Adam Cushing. And, quite frankly, they look a little bit bigger.
No kidding.
Yeah, they always look big, right? They're big college football linemen, but you look at them now, they look like they've actually gotten bigger. So I think they did a lot of work with Tommy Moffitt, I guess, to get stronger in the offseason. Because the one area where you would look at A&M and think, okay, now wait a minute, that offensive line looks good, but they were having trouble frequently, especially in November, converting on 4th and short. Twice they came up short on 4th and 1 against South Carolina, and then against Texas. I don't know if you saw the game, but early in the game they had a 4th and 1 at the Texas 10 and didn't convert it, and then later in the game they had 4th and goal at the 1 and didn't convert. So they got to get better there.
Yeah, I'm sure the offensive line coach, he reminds them occasionally about those moments.
That's been brought up more than once.
For sure. The wide receivers that Concepcion, I think I'm saying it correctly, Casey Concepcion from North Carolina State, 124 receptions, 1,300 yards, 16 TDs, 18 TDs overall, I guess, in the last couple of years. That's a key acquisition for them.
Yeah, it really is. A&M had to get faster at receiver. There's no doubt about it. They're okay, but they really didn't have anybody that was a deep threat. Now they had Noah Thomas, who's now at Georgia, and Noah could break a tackle and turn it into a long game. But as far as having a guy that just took the top off the defense, it wasn't there. And KC Concepcion has more speed than anybody they had last year. And they brought in Mario Craver from Mississippi State. And and he's a guy that has a whole lot of speed too. So they've gotten significantly faster at that position. They would be better had Noah stayed, and they wanted him to. But even without him, I think that overall they have a better group of receivers than they had a year ago.
Yeah, they have Terry Bussey returns, right? And then the Houston, Jonah Wilson, he's a transfer as well.
Right. Yeah.
Olin, he's pretty good.
I haven't seen a lot of him this year yet,
Yeah.
but they have a redshirt freshman, Ashton Bethel Roman, that's been the guy that's getting a lot of raves and a lot of praise here in August camp. Did some nice things in the spring, and then Terry Bussey is a guy. He's from a town of about 1,000 people. And he played quarterback in high school and quarter and cornerback, and they won the state championship. And he's really fast. He's a really good athlete, all those things. But he'd never played receiver. And so when he got here, they had him in camp last year playing cornerback. They had some injuries at receiver, and all of a sudden their numbers were depleted there. So out of necessity, they moved him to receiver. And so he's trying to actually learn the position on the fly, and he did all right. He had about 17 catches for about 220 yards,
Pretty good.
Not bad for the situation he's in, and they feel like, maybe this is going to be a year he takes a significant stride forward in his development. But there's no doubt about him as an athlete and just understands football. And again, another guy's really fast, and they need that.
You know the town by chance, Olin? You know the town?
Timpson, Texas. It's just
Timpson, Texas.
Stone's throw from the Louisiana border up around Shreveport.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we give them some pub there.
Yeah, Timpson Bears.
Okay, that's pretty cool. The tight end position, Amari Niblack. I mean, been an enigma everywhere. Can the light be turned on for him at Texas A&M?
Well, they're certainly going to give him a shot at it.
Right.
They've got 5 tight ends on the roster, and he's one of them that now, he's such a good athlete.
Yes.
That they are cross-training at wide receiver and tight end. So the feeling is maybe sometimes you can get a nice matchup with him as a receiver, or, if they need some depth there. Because the one thing from a receiver standpoint that they don't have proven is big receivers, and so if they can use him in that role, but he's going to get a shot. They've got Theo Millen Orstrom, who's the only guy that's really back. He had 17 catches last year. They didn't throw a ton to the tight end, a couple of touchdowns, and then they brought in Nate Bokacher from Nebraska, and Nate was he only caught about 19 passes in 4 years in Nebraska, and yet you talk to the coaches here, and they think that that he can be a significant contributor in the passing game, and they definitely need help in blocking. And he's a big old kid, but they think he's more than just a blocker. So we'll see. They've definitely got plenty of bodies over there. We'll see which one works out.
Yeah, that's interesting that they like him. I mean, and this could happen. I mean, we've seen it from time to time. People don't get an opportunity at a particular school, make a transfer, and they excel. So
now, look, they're not talking about him going out and catching 40 balls. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But, I mean, he's a guy with the way they intend to use him that, he may catch, 20, 25, or 30 if the matchups are right. But, at least they hope that he can give them a legitimate option to throw to at tight end. He or Niblack.
Right. And the defenses have to account for those types of players, and maybe some critical third downs in a game or two. That's worth having him on scholarship and having him through the transfer portal. So, but Olin, we haven't even discussed Marcel Reed. So we're going to come back after these messages with Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. And he knows everything about the Aggies and then some, right? But we're going to be right back after these messages with AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greer's.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it, and our very special guest, Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com, and he covers the Texas A&M Aggies. And so if you want to find out anything about them, the basketball, the women's basketball, he knows everything about the Aggies. I'm telling you what. He was around when, he does a good job. He's being shy about it, but I know he does. I can tell you that. And I don't throw around compliments too many times. I'm like George House with nickels, or like manhole covers, right?
Manhole covers.
But yeah, there we go. But Olin, we were going to discuss Marcel Reed. We didn't even talk about the quarterback. 6'1", about 185 or so. Completed 147 passes, 61%, 15 TDs, 6 INTs, 1,800 plus yards. What do you think about him as a quarterback so far?
Yeah, I think, when you look at the situation he was in last year, his numbers aren't bad. He was not expected to play, and he got thrust into the starting lineup because Connor Wigman got hurt. And then when Connor was healed, so he started 3 games. They were all wins over Bowling Green, Florida, and Arkansas. And then Connor came back for a couple of games and just, quite frankly, did not play well in the LSU game. You might have, I don't know if you saw that game, but they brought in Marcel about midway through the third quarter, and they scored touchdowns on 4 consecutive drives and a field goal on a 5th one, and they came back and won that game. And Marcel was, he was the star of that game. So I think Marcel is a good quarterback. I think he proved himself to be a good quarterback. The question this year is how good. Is he going to be pretty good? Is he going to be really good? Could he be great?
Yes.
I think they would settle for really good this year if they could get it.
Yes.
They'd like for him to be bigger. One of the big things they did this offseason was trying to get him to put on weight. He's got a fast metabolism. Right. His metabolism is almost as fast as his feet. But he's an exceptional runner. He's a guy that can make plays off schedule. Against Florida, he got out of the pocket and found a guy deep for a 60-yard touchdown. So he can make those plays off schedule. Again, he showed against LSU and against Florida, for that matter, his running ability. The area that Marcel has to get better at, has to show that he's made significant improvement, is more of the mental aspects of the game, like understanding, reading the defense. There were times last year where he had guys open, and he just didn't see him. He didn't read the defense correctly. Well, look, he's a redshirt freshman, or was last year, that again wasn't really supposed to play, and he made some mistakes that freshman quarterbacks typically do, but freshman quarterbacks typically get better. I think understanding where to go with the ball, reading the defense, that usually comes with experience. So he's got some experience behind him. So we'll see if he takes strides in that area. If he does, then he could be really good, not just pretty good.
543 yards worth of rushing. 116 attempts,
and probably about 100 more than that if you don't take out the sack numbers.
Right, yeah, 8 TDs on the ground, and a healthy 4.7 rushing average. So he's definitely a dual threat quarterback. You say, Olin, Texas A&M will be good on offense, and I think you stated a few things. Texas A&M will be good on offense if
they stay healthy. I mean, they were good last year. A lot of people don't know this. A&M was the highest scoring team in the SEC in conference games.
Oh, my. I didn't know that.
Just in conference games. Now, they played Notre Dame and only scored 10 points. In conference games, they're the highest scoring team. And you got a proven offensive line with the running backs they have, and you've added some speed at receiver. And then Marcel should make at least some improvement in his second year. So they averaged for the season around 30 points a game. They could boost that up to 35 or 37, I think. I mean, there's really most of the potential. We talked about Le'Veon Moss being back from injury, but so the guy that was going to be challenging Le'Veon Moss for the starting job last year was Reuben Owens, and he got hurt in August and didn't play until the last 2 games of the year, and even then he wasn't at full strength. So they've got him back too. So they've got some big playability on this offense, and I think it'll be a better offense than it was last year. The question is, will it be good enough to compensate for the defense if the defense isn't better?
Good segue. Yeah, the defense now. What do you feel? They have some transfers on the defensive line, right? From Florida, Rutgers, and Bowling Green, right? Searcy, TJ Searcy, Damon
Searcy from
Florida, Hayes.
Deion Hayes out of Colorado.
Okay.
Tyler Onyedin from Iowa State, and then Impemba from Georgia. So they've got brought in some help in the defensive line to go along with a guy like they're really high on Cassius Howell. He was second on the team with sacks, 4.5 sacks last year, and he was a backup to Nick Scorton. He led the MAC in quarterback sacks 2 years ago when he was at Bowling Green. Him a lot. They have a guy who was a 5-star recruit 2 years ago, DJ Hicks. He's shown flashes. Now he's a junior. It's time to turn those flashes into consistent production. They need that. They're high on a kid, Rylan Kennedy, as a defensive end. He had a sack against LSU last year. That was hard to do, sack a quarterback against LSU.
Yeah, good tackles, yeah.
Yeah, so that was feathering his cap. So they've got some guys that they feel are capable on that defensive line, but they have some guys that have to really prove what they can do as full-time starters. Because the only guy that was a full-time starter was Albert Regis as a defensive tackle, and he was the one of the starters that stayed, and the other three were drafted within the one in the first round, one in the second round, one in the third round. He was the other guy. Now, he's a pretty consistent guy, but he's the other guy. He's the guy you forget. So they have to prove that they can be, in a different role, no longer backups, that they're ready to play as starters in the SEC and be effective.
Sure. The linebackers here, you have Scooby Williams and good ball player. Very good, right?
Yeah, Scooby played all of last year with torn meniscus in his knee. So he gutted it out, and they were, he was in and out of the lineup because of that. They were much better at linebacker when he was in the game. And Torian York, he came here as a freshman 2 years ago, started his first game. And he started every game since. He's been a team captain as a sophomore, led the team in tackles, I think, both of the last 2 years.
82 last year, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so he's very experienced and proven. So with those two guys, and you expect Torian to be better as a junior, with those two guys, I think the linebacker core is in pretty good shape. Or I guess it's no longer a core. The linebacker pair is in pretty good shape. And they've got some guys that are young that they feel are ready to be able to play and help them out too.
About a minute or so, you got Will Lee, all SEC cornerback, and Julian Humphrey, the transfer from Georgia, right, and some other transfers in the secondary, but they should be improved because they have ability.
They also got Tyreek Chappelle, who had been a starter since his freshman year, and he got hurt in the second game of the year, missed the whole season. And so he's back, and he was one of their better coverage guys. So, and Mike Elko's taking over the calls for the defense. So, look, there's no way around it. The secondary was not good last year. They gave up way too many big plays. And that's a very key area of how good they're going to be this year is how much improvement can they make in the secondary. There are reasons. You mentioned them. You mentioned Julian Humphrey. They brought in Jordan Shaw from Washington. So, and Will Lee's still around, and Tyreek Chappelle is back. So there are reasons to think they could be better. But once again, they've got to go out and prove it. And if they prove it, then A&M could be a potential 10-win team. And if they don't, they'll have a lot of trouble getting out of that 8-win rut they've been in for the last decade.
Last minute, Olin, prove it at Notre Dame, prove it at LSU, prove it at Missouri, and prove it at Texas. That's a lot of proving.
those are 4 road games that are all going to be tough. But you know what I say is, if you didn't want it to be tough, if you didn't want to be challenged, then don't schedule Notre Dame and don't join the SEC. But they knew what they were. They knew what they were in for. And you know what? If you want to be a good team or a great team, you got to beat great teams. You can't be good just by beating the 10 cans on your schedule. So that's a challenge. None of those games they'll go into without a legitimate chance to win them. And they could lose them all too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. But that's a challenging schedule, road schedule anyway, those teams. Missouri's always those teams up and down. You never know which Missouri team will show up that day. But anyway, Olin, how could folks find you? How can folks find you?
Well, we'd appreciate if you'd give us a look at TexAgs.com. That's just an abbreviated version of Texas Aggies, TexAgs.com. And you can follow me, Olin Buchanan, on Twitter, or I guess they call it X now. All you got to do is be able to spell my name, and it's right there. You know, we don't hide behind any pseudonyms or handles. And you can follow TexAgs there as well. And we'd appreciate it if you would.
Hey, thank you, Olin, so much. We would like to thank our sponsors, Greer's Groceries, 29 locations. Remember, Greer's got it. They guaranteed. And Cortland Grand Hotel, downtown Atlanta. Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com, and Dylan Sinn from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next week with another episode of AP As We See It.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Olin.
Yep.